All right, thank you everybody for tuning in to this special episode of Football versus Football. I'm Arthur Wilkie, Thomas Wheaton, as always, with me. Very special guest today here, interviewing for the first time professional athlete here on the show, Jome of Minnesota United FC. So, former Gaucho as well. Really excited to be able to have you on. How you doing, Ish?
I'm good, man. Excited to be on.
Yeah, for sure, man. So first, just want to ask you about you're on FIFA now, man. How are you excited with your? What do you think about your ratings, man? Like, I don't think 74 pace does you justice. And just going back to that goal you scored against South Carolina to get us to Clemson, 48 curve. That is an injustice, man.
Yeah, I mean, the FIFA rating definitely could be better, but I think it's not bad. I thought it would be actually a lot worse for the first year, but yeah, I definitely got to work to get my FIFA ratings up for sure.
Definitely, man. You deserve an inform, man. So let's talk about the transition from Minnesota. Obviously, you played high school there. You're Mr. Minnesota. Mr. Soccer in Minnesota. And then over to California, played over here at UCSB, and then back to Minnesota for United in both the NASL and the MLS. So what was it like making that transition from there to here and back over to Minnesota for you?
So yeah, making the transition from Minnesota to Santa Barbara was incredible just because Minnesota was really cold, and I knew I wanted to go somewhere warm, and Santa Barbara was the perfect place to go with school and soccer and just the location and everything. So it was really nice to do that, and then just had a great experience there, on and off the field, and then a situation came up that I was able to get an offer to come back and play with the NASL team and the MLS team. So yeah, I took the opportunity, and that was also great. It's been a great experience playing with Minnesota for the past couple of years.
What was it like? Because you said going from Minnesota to California was a good transition. You liked going somewhere where it was warm and stuff with school. What was it like were you recruited by UCSB? Did Tim Vom Steeg reach out to you? Like, how did that whole process go?
Yeah, so it was interesting because I actually had never heard of Santa Barbara, and I was playing academy soccer in Minnesota with Minnesota Thunder, and we'd have these we'd go to the college showcases twice a year, so in the winter and in the summer. And I think we went to Texas my sophomore year, and him and I think some of the assistant coaches of UCSB saw me play there, and they then reached out to me about eventually going to UC Santa Barbara, and I hadn't heard of the place, so I Googled it, and I was like, oh wow, this place is amazing. So once they reached out to me, I was talking to them, and then my high school coach kept communicating with them, and then they actually came to see me play a couple times in other showcases, and they came to meet me in Minnesota. So it was really nice that they did that, and then I committed to coming to Santa Barbara, I think, my junior year.
You also played with Ventura County Fusion a little bit over the summer. I mean, what was it like? Also, just it's kind of hard to get game time outside of NCAA because of all these restrictions they have on you, right? So it's kind of hard to make that next step in a way.
Yeah, definitely. It's really tough. So during the season, it's like a hectic schedule. You get a lot of games in, but then after the season, you don't really get as many games, and there's definitely a lull period where you're not training as much as you want to, especially if you want to play at a higher level. So it's kind of like when I was in Santa Barbara, I did a lot of training with me and just the other guys, just working on stuff on our own and playing pickup or whatever. And yeah, and Ventura was nice too to be able to play games in the summer.
You left UCSB at the end of your junior season, right?
Yeah.
What prompted you to make that transition to go pro? Because we see a lot of there's been a lot of gauchos over the last couple of seasons that leave college early. Was there something specific that drew you to go pro?
Yeah, so I always wanted to go pro, but it was just the timing of it as far as completing my junior season, and I wanted to finish school as well, I mean, I still want to finish school, but I left early because it was just a great opportunity to come back and play in my hometown with my family being there and knowing that I had completed a good amount of school that if I came back, it wouldn't be much to finish. So just with all those factors, I just made the decision that it was a good move to leave early and play professional.
So then you go to NASL, you score a goal there as well. But then the transition from there, United into MLS, it's kind of the closest thing that MLS has these days to promotion into the top league here in America. But so it's kind of uncertain though, that transition from United being an NASL club to an MLS team, because I know they specifically wanted to keep a lot of that core around. It wasn't like the whole usual expansion team thing where they scrap everything that's been there and they bring in players from all around the world, such as you see with like Atlanta United. But it was a lot of uncertainty, right, in terms of what game time you would get, even if they would keep you around on the squad. So was that kind of, were you able to work with management during that time to be able to secure your spot on the team?
Yeah, so I had known about the transition from that was going to happen beforehand, which kind of played a part in my decision because I wanted to play in MLS. So talking to my agent and talking to the sporting director and upper management at Minnesota, I knew they were making that transition. So my contract was set up so that I would be moving up with them when they did move up. So I kind of had some security in that, at least for this past year. So that kind of like played a big role in my decision, just knowing that I'd have at least 2 years of playing there.
Good. I'm glad. As soon as MLS started, though, it was kind of a rough transition there for Minnesota United at first, kind of getting blown out in every game earlier in the season. First 4 games, I saw you guys allow 18 goals. There was how was that in terms of the team? Like, was there a sense of low morale, or was there a sense of where there was just like low confidence around the team? How did you guys pick yourselves up from that?
Yeah, it was really low morale after those few games. It was just the team. I think just collectively the team knew we were better than that, but it was just definitely not good enough in the first few games. So the coaching staff like made a few changes, and just like the guys just kind of stepped it up in training, and then over time throughout the season just got better and better.
And then, of course, you made your MLS debut against San Jose. What was that like?
Oh, that was awesome. Yeah, it was really nice, especially being at home. The crowd was like fantastic, and yeah, I was just happy to finally make my debut after not being in the squad and not playing for a few games.
And then as an outside back, how helpful was it to have experience on the back line? Of course, you had players like Mark Birch, Jerome Thiessen, and then Michael Boxall came in, former Gaucho as well, later in the year. Mm-hmm. So they were kind of able to mentor you through your first season in MLS. Was it helpful to have that?
Yeah, for sure. Jerome especially, because he's a good friend of mine just outside the field. So he was a really nice guy, so he helped me a lot. And yeah, Birch and Boxall like gave me pointers as well. So yeah, it was good to have those experienced guys. Just when I was uncertain about things positionally or things to do, they would always like help me out, and I could always ask one of them for things to do.
What was the biggest difference between college ball and pro ball, and even like NASL in between college and MLS? Like, what was the biggest difference between those three levels of play?
The biggest difference is, well, college soccer, first of all, is just like you're just almost unlimited substitutions, and so that changes the whole complex of the game. And the quality of play, like speed of play, is higher from college, a great deal higher from college to NFL, and from NASL to MLS it's even higher. And just your level of fitness, I would say, too, is higher from each level, because I've noticed that as well, just having to work a lot harder to be fit to be match fit because the games are definitely more demanding the higher level you get.
So did you watch MLS Cup this past weekend as well?
Yeah, for sure.
So you've game prepped for both of the teams in the final. Obviously, Toronto, fantastic regular season team. Do you agree with the result?
Yeah, for sure. I think Toronto has been the best team in the league for the past couple of years. I think last year they were just unlucky not to win, but I think they definitely deserve to win this year. We played them at Toronto. I played a little bit in that game, and they beat us 3-2, but they were definitely very, I think, the best side in that match. Yeah.
I'm gonna preface this question with I'm a Seattle fan. I've been a Seattle fan for the last couple of years, I guess. So last year, the Cup run was very, very lucky, and then to win MLS Cup without a shot on goal, it took a lot for that to happen. But this year, I personally thought Josie was offsides on his goal. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, seeing it back, I thought there's like a hint of offside there, but I mean they didn't call it, and they used the VAR apparently, or it wasn't a clear, obvious mistake. So yeah, so it was allowed.
And is there one guy or I guess one environment that's toughest to play in, or someone that's toughest to play against? What were your takes from your first season there?
Toughest environment, I would say Atlanta, just because of the huge number of fans they have.
Yeah, that was crazy seeing them break the attendance record.
Yeah, definitely. So Atlanta was definitely, and well, he wasn't on my side when I played, but David Villa was for sure the toughest guy I think collectively of the team to deal with.
Tough guy to play against for sure. I imagine.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, Minnesota United, you're not going to be with them next year. But what's the next step in your career?
So my agent is talking to a few teams in the States and as well as like overseas, possibly Denmark or Germany. So I'm going to talk with him within the next couple weeks and then figure out the best situation for me to go to. I think just at this point, it's the most important thing is just getting consistent amount of games in and just developing as a player and making that next step to becoming like a consistent starter.
If you could choose, would you prefer to stay in the States, stay in the MLS, or would you prefer to go overseas and play in one of the European leagues? Or is it just honestly, wherever it gives you more time to play?
Yeah, wherever's the best case scenario to get the best amount of minutes, honestly, at this point.
And I guess we'll wrap this up with, what's your favorite memory been from both college, NASL, MLS, your career so far?
Total, or you mean just in each case?
Just overall.
Well, like, I could just pick one. I'll just pick one from each because I think it's kind of tough. But from college, I remember beating Cal Poly freshman year at home. So I think that was like one of my favorite memories.
It's been a while since we've had a Cal Poly win at home too.
Yeah, yeah, it has been. And then NASL, I think just going a goal on my debut, I think that was really special. And then MLS, starting my first start, and we won at home, which was I think that was one of my favorite memories.
Well, hey man, thank you for the interview. Really appreciate it, and best of luck with the rest of your career as well. Hopefully we'll be able to catch up, hopefully in the future at some point as well.